Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this will be episode 213 for you guys today. We're going to kick off this week's episode discussing what's going on in the NBA Finals. You have the number one seeded, reigning defending Western Conference champions in the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the fourth seeded, reigning defending Eastern Conference champions in the Indiana Pacers. The Oklahoma City Thunder are currently up on the Pacers in the NBA Finals 3-2 with Game 6 on the horizon for Thursday night in the NBA Finals. So I'll be covering Game 3, Game 4, and Game 5 of what's transpired in the NBA Finals since the last time I talked to you guys about the NBA Finals. So I'll be sharing my thoughts on what is currently happening in the NBA Finals. So Game 3, we saw the Indiana Pacers won that game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. They leaned on Benedict Mathurin, who scored a total of 30 points coming off the bench. That was actually the most total scored points coming off the bench since Jason Terry scored 27 points coming off the bench in the 2011 NBA Finals when he helped the Dallas Mavericks win their only NBA title in franchise history. But then you saw Game 4, you showed the grit and determination that Oklahoma City Thunder had when their backs were against the wall and they possibly could have been down 3-1 in the series, but they rallied back in the fourth quarter, gained the lead for the first time in the second half, and in the fourth quarter, SGA showed why he is one of the best players in the league, scored 15 out of his 35 points in the final 5 minutes of that ball game to help Oklahoma City Thunder win that game and tie the series 2-2 after Game 4. Then last night for Game 5, Tyrese Halliburton, we know he's not 100%, and clearly the injury news that came out today is very unfortunate, but he didn't score any points for the first 22 minutes of last night's ball game and only scored 4 points in the Game 5 and then shot 0 for 6 from the field, actually. But the story of Game 5 also was the way that the Oklahoma City Thunder capitalized on PTO, points off for turnovers, because the Indiana Pacers had over 19 turnovers in this ball game. But Jalen Williams gave us one hell of a show, dropping 40 points, and this was probably one of the best second scoring option performances that we've seen in the NBA Finals in quite some time, to the point where Kendrick Perkins was comparing this performance that Jalen Williams had to what Scottie Pippen did with the Chicago Bulls in the early 90s playing with Michael Jordan in Chicago. So Jalen Williams is actually also the youngest player in NBA Finals history to score 40 points. And that was a big game because whoever was going to win last night was going to be in the driver's seat. And you damn sure, if you were the Oklahoma City Thunder, did not want to drop last night's game with the series being tied 2-2. Game 5 was on your court last night. And if the Pacers won Game 5 or up 3-2, they really would have been in the driver's seat with a chance to win the NBA title in their home court, being up 3-2 if they won Game 5 last night. But Jalen Williams was the guy that was leading the charge offensively for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and SGA did his thing too. So the fact that you have somebody that you can lean on other than SGA, and there's so many young talented players on this Oklahoma City Thunder team, but it's good to know that someone, if SGA can't step up or he's having a bad night in the office, not just for if this series goes to 7, but just for the future of the Oklahoma City Thunder, Jalen Williams is going to have a bright career. I like what he brings to the table, and last night's performance really won me over of what this guy is capable of doing for this Oklahoma City Thunder franchise moving forward. So that was a huge performance, but a deeper dive into the finals as well. Let's go back to Game 3. I noticed Game 3 for the recipe for success when the Indiana Pacers won that game at home. It was Tyrese Halliburton that was doing his thing offensively. He scored 22 points and had 11 assists. When Tyrese Halliburton, he's that playmaking point guard that could get his teammates going, but also can dish out his own type of offensive performance as well. When he gets over 20 points and 10 assists, the Indiana Pacers are unbeatable. So you saw that in Game 3, 22 points, having his own scoring affair, and then 11 assists, getting his teammates involved. That's exactly what leads to success for the Indiana Pacers. But then Game 4, the offensive spark that the Oklahoma City Thunder needed, other than SGA, you were getting sparks from Jalen Williams and Alex Caruso. They scored 20 points or more in Game 4. And what I just said in the beginning of the segment, Benedict Mathurin was actually the hero of Game 3, but then in Game 4, he missed 3 crucial free throws in this game that if he made the free throws, it could have favored the Indiana Pacers to get this one game or get another game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And then if they cleaned up the small mistakes, the Pacers as well, if they cleaned up the small mistakes, it would have been 3-1 heading into game 5 last night. If they just clean up the small mistakes, they hit on the free throws and capitalized, they could have had the Oklahoma City Thunder on the ropes and been up 3-1 in the series if they won game 4. But things happen for a reason. And then you look at game 5, what happened last night. Obviously, everybody knew once Tyrese Halliburton went down early in the bowl game with the apparent leg injury, but now we know it's a calf strain. Everybody knew that Tyrese Halliburton might have not been 100%. But my theory for that is game 5, the injury was revealed for Tyrese Halliburton. Again, the calf injury, the calf strain that has now been reported now. If he's not going to be 100% after what we saw game 5, you might as well have him sit game 6. And I know it's do or die situation in Indiana in your home court, but you got to think about this long term. I would turn to TJ McConnell, who has given you a bigger offensive spark. In the last game that you saw in Game 5, Tyrese Halliburton didn't make a shot from the field, only got his 4 points from the free throw line. If he's not going to be out there aggressive and just going to be a decoy, there's really no point in him being out there risking an injury. I would have him sit and ride it out with TJ McConnell, Pascal Siakam that you've been leaning on the entire series and the entire playoffs, and other role players that they can lean on in order to fight for another day and possibly fight for a Game 7 to take place in Oklahoma City Thunder, where you could have Tyrese Halliburton play. Because this strained right calf injury, if Tyrese Halliburton goes out there Game 6, tries to give it his all, I fear that we might see something similar that we've seen happen to Kevin Durant in the 2019 NBA Finals in Toronto, where he had that torn Achilles, and I don't want to see that happen to Tyrese Halliburton, a young player, the star franchise player of the Indiana Pacers, go down for the entire year. I just think overall they should sit him out. But overall, I think the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to pull it out in Game 6. I think the NBA Finals and the NBA season is going to end Thursday night. My pick originally was the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they have proven me right so far based off of being efficient, both ends of the court being very dangerous in the fast break. Again, points off for turnovers, PTO. They have been very effective on both ends of the court. You're getting a lot of distributions for offensive distributions from SGA, Alex Caruso, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren, and so many other pieces. The Indiana Pacers they're there, but they can't keep up for much longer. And with this Tyrese Halliburton injury, this might be the nail in the coffin for them. So I think the series is going to end in Game 6. I will say this has been a very underrated NBA Finals, and for people out there, NBA casuals that thought just because two small market teams made it, this has been an exciting NBA Finals. It's been more exciting than the finals that we got between the Celtics and the Mavericks last year. More exciting than the Heat and the Nuggets that we got the year prior. So I think we should all be proud of what we've seen from the NBA Finals, and this shows why no matter what teams make it, small market teams matter. When you have two emerging young superstars in SGA and Tyrese Halliburton that have battled against each other in the NBA Finals. But all good things come to an end. I think the Oklahoma City Thunder is going to wrap it up at 6. But those are my thoughts of what I've seen in Game 3, Game 4, and Game 5 of the NBA Finals.